Welcome everyone to today's webinar held jointly by us here at Skyline Software Systems and our new partners at AirMap. My name is Catherine Ryan. I'm head of marketing here at Skyline, and I am so excited to host today's event. Before we get too far in, there's some quick housekeeping points to review. The first is that we're aiming for about 20 to 25 minutes of content with some time for questions at the end. So if you have a question, please submit it in the questions area of your GoToWebinar dashboard, and our presenters will be happy to address them at the end. Second, this webinar is being recorded, and everyone who registered for this webinar today will receive an email that contains a link to view and share a recording of this email, and that should be out in a couple hours. This is a special webinar since we are formally announcing our partnership with the incredibly innovative team at AirMap. Skyline is proud to bring our 3D visualization software and services to AirMap's Jobsight, a drone flow automation platform that optimizes construction projects with digital intelligence. To speak to this new partnership, we have Robbie Hull, Senior Marketing Manager at AirMap. My slides will work. Senior Product Marketing Manager, Enterprise at AirMap. From Skyline Software Systems, we have our CEO, Robert Peters, and our Director of Production, Itai Ben Schechter. They're all here to talk to us today about this amazing collaboration. So welcome, gentlemen, and thanks for being here.
Great.
A quick review of our agenda. Robert Peters will begin with a few words about Skyline, give a general overview of our partnership with AirMap. Then Robbie Hull will outline AirMap and especially the Jobsight platform for us. And we'll end with a live demonstration and deep look at Photomesh UAV by Itai Schechter. So I will go ahead and turn it over to our CEO of Skyline Software Systems, Inc., Robert Peters.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for the introductions. Welcome, everybody. For those on the East Coast, good afternoon, and for the West Coast, good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you, and we're really excited to be announcing this partnership. We're really excited to be a part of a team now with AirMap for helping people in the drone industry. They bought the drone. What do you do? Geez, I'd really love to be able to do something with it. I need help in learning how to fly, or a workflow that can be consistently operated on and used for reliability, continuity, and then what do you do with all that data after you collect it? And so being a part of that workflow and the opportunity to bring really world-class digital twins to the construction and engineering industry is really an exciting opportunity for us. And we're again, AirMap is a great quality partner for us to launch into with it. For those who don't know Skyline, we've been together in this industry for about 30 years. We are a leader in 3D geospatial visualization tools and generation tools, as well as hosting. And what we're excited about with this new partnership is adding our workflow now to the flight operations workflow. So now you can automate your flight operations. Now that you have the data, we can take the data and we can automate that processing for you and make it available for you to use for your own activities, whether you want to measure, do volumetrics, do time domain, what happened last week versus this week. You want to spread it out to your partners and things. It's really a very versatile and dynamic package, and we're excited to bring these benefits to you, the UAV operators, and you, the customers. So with that, I'd really rather let you see the tools. And so I'm going to pass this right on to Robbie. So thank you.
Abby, do you see where it's at? There you go.
Okay, good.
If you could unmute Robbie.
Yeah.
Quick.
My apologies. Thanks, Bob. My name's Robbie Hall. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at AirMap. And I'm here to talk to you about our product application, Jobsight. Jobsight's an end-to-end solution for drone operations built with the construction industry in mind. Jobsight handles everything from scheduling, recurring operations, and mission planning to the fully autonomous data capture, and now some really advanced data processing and viewing from Skyline. So Jobsight was purpose-built to service and automate the entire drone data supply chain, from your first flight to your final in-sight Jobsight has tools for organizations of all sizes. The Jobsight viewer gives users access to various data types. So this includes immersive 360-degree photos, which I'll show you an example of here. So these 360 photos you can place at the corners of your project site, and then you can view progress over time from the same vantage point. We also have immersive multi-angle image series. Oops. Sorry about that. Our image series product is like a deconstructed video of sorts, where you can, in high resolution, physically navigate yourself around the facades of a project, zoom in with high resolution, and jump back or forward in time to view progress and change over time. And then our final standard data type that comes as an orthomosaic that you all might be very familiar with. Standard two-dimensional map, great for taking measurements, volumetrics, linear, or area. And with Skyline, what we're doing is really unique because we take both the image series and 360 photo data types, and Skyline takes those into their photo mesh software, where the data set is transformed into a very high resolution 3D model, mesh, or point cloud. These models are made viewable within the Skyline Terra Explorer for web, which we've actually embedded directly into Jobsight here. So you can see we're going to go to a project called the Port of Miami that has been processed with photo mesh using both the orthomosaic data types and the image series to get nice facades and nice textures on the outside of these 3D models. Ultimately, this gives customers a really lightweight and advanced 3D viewing and analysis experience from directly within their Jobsight project. So this viewer will automatically share with all the teams that you have Jobsight shared with, making it really easy to collaborate on high quality 3D models. And then ultimately, all of this is to, sorry about that. Ultimately, all of this is to create measurable ROI with our customers, right? So that can be to reduce rework or better manage materials and assets, or just improve collaboration and reporting. But next, I'm going to pass this over to Ite to tell us a little bit more about how the integration works and some of the exciting things that kind of happen underneath the hood.
Great. Thank you, Robbie. I'm Itai Schechter, the Director of Production at Skyline, and I work with all of our 3D content creation tools and 3D generation. And I'll go over with you a little bit in more depth the application and the platform embedded with Jobsight, the Terra Explorer for web, as well as go a little bit behind the scenes and explain how the process for the data processing works and the content, 3D content creation and the orthos and point clouds. And then also review a little bit some of the more professional desktop tools, some of the more power user capabilities. So part of what's enabled with the Jobsight integration is when you collect the data, the images, as Robbie was explaining, the image series and the nadir data collect, you have the option to then have Skyline process the data and produce a 3D mesh. And you could see as one of the options, you could open up the 3D view of the project. In this case, the Port of Miami project that Robbie was shown. So here is the 3D model. And this is all being streamed and hosted by Skyline as part of the AirMap partnership. So once you have the 3D data in, first of all, you could have multiple, the same as you could view individual images or over time see the progress of the project. You can also view the 3D development of the project. What the 3D allows you to do as additional capabilities is the basic contour map visualization. So everything that goes into this tool is geospatially referenced. So everything is in a real world location. So this would be actually in Miami, Southern Florida. And it all has geospatial significance in terms of the ability to measure. So, if there's any need to measure distances, 3D areas, volume measurements, those could all be done. So, just real quick, you could measure just a typical distance. You can measure an area of a specific location. Just a second. Let's say over here. And you could do a basic volume measurement. So let's say if your goal is to measure the amount of material in a certain area, you could then mark it and let's say draw. I'll do just a quick volume assessment over this. And we have the calculate button, which then uses the server side calculation and some other things that we allow on the Terra Explorer for Web. We get 60 cubic meters, as well as the total area, the total perimeter. So this gives you a whole set of options that you can incorporate in and share between users. By the way, if there's any questions, please feel free to field them as I'm talking. We'll address them either during the presentation or at the end of the presentation. Additionally, there's basic slope map capabilities, 3D view shed. So I can click on a certain location and then see what's visible from that location. As well as shadow analysis with a time slider, so we could turn on and off shadows. So these are all available in the Terra Explorer for Web. Additionally, you could load in more layers. GIS layers, features, polygons, polylines, points, raster information, ortho elevation data. So this could be a central location where a lot of input data on top of the data that was collected by the drone and processed in PhotoMesh gets accumulated inside the Terra Explorer for Web project in Jobsight. So to go a little bit and jump back, on the PhotoMesh side, what we've done is PhotoMesh has a full API, which then allows to automate the entire process, including building a project, importing the photos, running the data. And the way that PhotoMesh works in a fully scalable way is that it allows the data to be processed on multiple computers. And then you can really scale up to any project and get it turned around extremely quickly. This is done by, once the process is complete, or once the aerial triangulation is complete, and we calculate the exact location of the images. You can see over here the nadir collect and the oblique collect. So this is one of the oblique images being projected on the terrain, and then we can see one of the nadir images being projected on the terrain. So that's the calculated location of the relative images. Once the AT is done and we produce the AT in a very high quality, it was correlated about half a pixel. We also calibrate the camera to get a more precise camera model for the processing. We split the project up into tiles, and then each tile can be processed on a separate computer. So working with AirMap, the data gets processed on the cloud, and we scale up as many machines as necessary. In this case, it's only about 60, 70 tiles. So on 60, 70 computers, the process takes no more than half an hour or an hour to process. Now, each tile goes through the full process of a dense point cloud. So we correlate every potential 2-ray or 3-ray, wherever 2 images or more hit a certain spot, we correlate a point, and we also colorize that point. so that it receives an RGB value. Then from the point cloud, we produce the surface model, which is the basis for the mesh, and then we texture it, creating the textured mesh model. At the end of the process, the full 3D mesh is then already built with pyramids, levels of detail, so that's what allows it to be streamable. And you can see how it's very smooth to work with. It can cache the data as necessary on your screen. And then you don't have to compromise on the level of detail or the accuracy of the data. You could pretty much get any 3D point that was available in the process accessible within the platform. So this is an example of one of the construction sites processed in PhotoMesh. And what is also possible to do for the more power users and the more advanced operators that want to have access to the full set of capabilities, you could bring it into Terra Explorer on the desktop. So the Terra Explorer for web is available online, and this is available on your personal computer or your work computer. And then the data can still be streamed in. The mesh doesn't have to be local. The mesh could be brought in from the Skyline Globe server. It's hosted into the T for web, and it's also hosted into the T desktop. So you could bring in the data in from the Globe server and then utilize a lot more of the analytic capabilities, measurements, some of which are already available in the Terra Explorer for web. Like we saw the contour map, the slope map, the volume calculation, the view shed. The other things that are a nice add-in to have is that you also have the ability to swipe between data sets. So let's say if I wanted to compare a March 16th status of the construction with the April 6th one, you can see I have March 16th on the left and April 6th on the right. And I could swipe between them and see the progress. So we can see over here some of the floors that are getting added additional scaffolding or additional construction material. You can also see the areas where equipment was removed. Over here also between the 16th and the 6th, the scaffolding was actually removed, and now you have the clean platform here that is more or less completed. Another additional capability that you could do comparing between data sets is you can do an automatic change detection or elevation comparison. Let's say in this case, you could see the areas marked over here. That's the elevation comparison. And if we swipe between the layers, we'll be able to see the difference that we were comparing with. So see over here, there was construction material that wasn't there on March 16th and is there on April 6th, so it automatically gets marked. Of course, it also catches equipment such as cranes or diggers or tractors. The other nice thing is you can see it also catches if there's any differences, let's say in piles that were removed, so they can highlight ground. See over here, we have an area that was marked. There was no pile on the 16th, and then April 6th, we can see the area marked as a change, an elevation change. So you can see a lot of the potential applications that allow you to then analyze the 3D data. Additionally, you can also add taglines. So let's say if you have a volume measurement, you see you can click on it, so it gives you the volume removed, the area that was marked. And you can also perform 3D simulations. So if I want to, let's say, visualize a golf cart moving through, and I can also attach a view shed to it and then see essentially exactly what the golf cart sees from that location. So that's some of the capabilities that are available. You can also create a full presentation of the data set, which is essentially a macro that allows you to record steps or prepare steps in advance. And then when you run the presentation, it automatically runs through the steps that you created. So you can distribute this project to other users. We have a Terra Explorer viewer, a desktop viewer, and you can disseminate it to other users with the presentation built inside. So if something you want to demonstrate or something you want to show, all you have to do is double click on the presentation. And then you see this is essentially like a dynamic video, except at any given point you can pause it, you can move around, you can show thing, and then you can continue it. You see it's zooming in on the area. You can add captions, so we can see March 16th. And then we can see the March 23rd comparison, March 31st comparison, and sort of move between the layers. So that's the presentation tool. And the presentation tool can also turn on measurement objects, turn on analytics, turn off analytics. So it can take a less sophisticated user that didn't prepare the project still gets to see the whole workflow that was deployed on the data set. The last thing that I will demonstrate, I see some questions. So there's questions on customization of the Terra Explorer for Web. So there is an API with the Terra Explorer for Web, and you can develop your own tools. It is Cesium based, and we allow access to both the Cesium API and our own built-in API for the Terra Explorer for Web with all the additional tools and capabilities we build on top. So the users can then create their own custom tools, their own functionalities that might be necessary. The same is true as also for the Terra Explorer desktop. So the Terra Explorer desktop also has a full API, and we support the developers that want to access customization capabilities. So that's some of the built-in programmer's guide. And we also have a full user guide in all of our software. So at any given point, you can just go to the help menu and everything is available, including the ability to visualize in VR, Oculus Rift in this case. So everything that you're doing inside the 3D visual display can also be immersive, and you can then use it inside VR goggles. The other question is, how accurate is the measuring function? The measuring function is really as accurate as the output from the data. In a lot of cases, the data is collected in pretty high resolution, a 1 to 2 centimeter range, and the measurement is probably accurate to within 2 to 3 pixels. So I would say within 5 centimeters, 4 to 5 centimeters, the measurement could be accurate. If I was to measure the length of this, and we also have a snapping tool. So I could snap to the corner here, snap to the corner here. Oh, missed the corner. There we go. There we go. So this would be a very accurate measurement, probably within a few single centimeters. Another question, are there ground control points necessary? That depends on the accuracy you want to achieve. But there is the ability to incorporate ground control points, and that's something that's we're phasing in the next step in our integration with AirMap. Right now, the process is 100% automated. In the next generation of our integration, there will be an option to also upload ground control points that were measured by a surveyor or on the ground for ground truthing, which would be the coordinates of those points, as well as a description or a ground photo of what was measured, and then they will be incorporated into the photogrammetric process. So you could achieve a very high accuracy from the output. All of this is managed inside the Jobsight platform and allows you the access to upload your data, and Skyline then receives it and processes it and uploads it back to the Jobsight link, the Terra Explorer interface for users to utilize. So the last thing that I was going to review is the ability to look and see the raw images that were captured. So if you click on a photo, we can see the photo that was used to create this data set, the 3D data set, and the ability to mark inspection layers or areas that need to be documented, highlighted, shared. So let's say if I see, and I'm not a construction expert, I'm more focused on the 3D, but let's say there's something here that you wanted to highlight. Let's say over here, I can create an inspection layer and mark it. And then it also gives me the recommended images to view that area. Let me pick a 90-degree option instead of the full 360 view. Here we go. So yeah, and then I can view this in the raw image, see what it is, maybe give me additional information or details on what I'm looking at and what's necessary. At the end of the process, the inspection layer is exportable, so you can export it, or as a Skyline SQLite geodatabase shapefile and export it out, and then share it into other software. So, and you can also upload it to the Skyline Globe. So one of the things that the desktop allows you to do is publish additional data. So you could publish the inspection layer into your account. And then when a different user views the Terra Explorer for Web version of this project, they'll be able to see the shapefile layer, the inspection layer, or any other layer that gets loaded. It's possible for you to then just go and publish those layers up to the globe. So those are some of the capabilities that are available with the Terra Explorer desktop, some more of the power user capabilities. So at this point, if there's any other questions, we'll be happy to address them. We're more or less at the 30-minute mark. I think I went a little bit long, but we'll be happy to address any questions or any comments that people have. Feel free to reach out to us, and I'll hand it back to Catherine.
Yes, if you guys have anyone has any questions or wants to reach out, you can find us at the Commercial UAV Expo, both us and AirMap, and you can find us at skylinesoft.com and any information at airmap.com/jobsite. There will be an email coming up with a link to view this webinar, so please be on the lookout for that. And if there are no other questions, gentlemen, thank you so much again for being here. Thank you, Robbie, for coming to AirMap.
There is one question from Mr. Harrington.
Oh, okay, looks like we missed one.
We have marketing tools that we can use to help pitch our services to the clients. The answer is yes, we'll be working with AirMap to provide additional information. They'll be getting help, online help, as well as fax and frequently asked questions. So there'll be a number of documentation as well available through the AirMap Jobsight location. And then product support for the 3D modeling and the viewing will come through the Skyline software sites.
Excellent, thank you, Bob. All right, if that's about it, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the webinar and have a wonderful day and stay safe.
Thanks, everyone.